Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Daniel Carter. If you are watching this, you likely understand that as we age, especially for men entering their 60s and 70s, the body begins to communicate in different ways. One of the most silent yet persistent messages it sends is through your blood pressure readings. Today, we are focusing on a topic that sits at the intersection of daily habit and clinical necessity: the milk you choose during your weekly grocery run. Specifically, we are looking at the New Zealand dairy landscape. For many of my viewers in the United States and abroad, New Zealand represents the gold standard of dairy purity. However, even within a gold standard system, making the wrong choice for your specific health profile can have consequences. If you are a senior managing hypertension, your choice between the aisles of Countdown or New World supermarkets is not just about taste or price. It is a clinical decision. High blood pressure, or hypertension, is often referred to as the silent killer. For men in the older demographic, the vascular system loses some of its natural elasticity. The arteries become stiffer, and the heart must work harder to circulate blood. In this physiological state, the intake of saturated fats becomes a high-stakes game. While milk is a powerhouse of nutrition, the fat found in whole milk is primarily saturated fat, which can contribute to plaque buildup and further arterial stiffness. In this comprehensive guide, I am going to walk you through the science of why trim milk, or low-fat milk, is often the superior choice for hypertensive seniors. We are going to analyze the specific brands you will encounter at Countdown and New World, such as Anchor, Meadow Fresh, and Pam's. My goal today is to transform you from a consumer into an informed patient advocate. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which bottle to reach for to help manage your blood pressure while maintaining the protein and calcium levels your body desperately needs. Let us begin by looking at the hard science. To understand why we emphasize trim milk, we must first look at the most respected dietary framework for blood pressure management in the medical community: the DASH diet. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. For decades, clinical trials have shown that a diet high in fruits, vegetables, and crucially, low-fat dairy products can significantly lower systolic and diastolic blood pressure. As Dr. Daniel Carter, I often explain to my patients that milk is a complex biological fluid. It contains 3 key minerals that act as a natural defense against high blood pressure: calcium, potassium, and magnesium. Calcium is not just for bones. It plays a vital role in how your blood vessels tighten and relax. Potassium is perhaps even more critical for the hypertensive patient, as it helps the kidneys excrete excess sodium. Think of potassium as the natural antagonist to the salt that raises your blood pressure. However, the dilemma for the older male is the fat content. Whole milk in New Zealand typically contains around 3.3 to 4% fat. While that may sound low, a significant portion of that is saturated fat. For a younger, active individual, this might be manageable. But for a senior man whose primary goal is vascular health, these fats can increase LDL cholesterol, which leads to atherosclerosis. When your arteries are narrowed by cholesterol deposits, the pressure required to pump blood through them inevitably rises. This is where trim milk comes into play. In the New Zealand market, trim milk is generally standardized to contain less than 0.5% fat. By choosing a trim option at a supermarket like New World or Countdown, you are effectively stripping away the cardiovascular risk while retaining the mineral benefits. There is also the factor of protein. Men over the age of 65 are at a heightened risk for sarcopenia, which is the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. You need the high-quality whey and casein proteins found in dairy to maintain your muscle tissue. Trim milk provides a higher protein-to-calorie ratio than full cream milk. This means you can support your muscles without taxing your heart with unnecessary lipids. Furthermore, we must discuss the insulin-hypertension connection. Many seniors with high blood pressure also struggle with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. Saturated fats can interfere with insulin sensitivity. By opting for a low-fat dairy source, you are supporting a leaner metabolic profile. In the next sections, we will take this scientific foundation and apply it to the actual products you see on the shelves. We will look at the nutritional labels of New Zealand's leading brands to see which ones offer the highest potassium and the lowest sodium, ensuring that your morning coffee or bowl of oats becomes a tool for longevity rather than a risk factor. Understanding these nuances is the difference between simply eating and eating for a longer, healthier life. Now that we understand the physiological benefits of low-fat dairy, let us step into a Countdown supermarket. Countdown is one of the most accessible grocery chains in New Zealand, and for many seniors, it is the primary source for their weekly essentials. When you walk toward the refrigerated dairy section, you will see a sea of green-capped bottles. In New Zealand, green is the universal signal for trim milk. But not all green caps are created equal. The first brand we encounter is the Countdown house brand. Many people on a fixed retirement income gravitate toward this option because of the price point. Nutritionally, it is a solid, reliable choice. When we look at the label, the fat content is consistently below 0.5%. However, for a hypertensive patient, I want you to look closely at the sodium levels. Some generic brands may have slightly higher naturally occurring sodium levels depending on the processing. Ideally, you want to see sodium at or below 45 milligrams per 100 milliliters. The Countdown trim milk usually hits this mark, making it a safe, budget-friendly option for heart health. Next, we look at the industry leader, Anchor Trim Milk. Anchor is a household name for a reason. They utilize a sophisticated filtration process that removes the fat but manages to keep the texture from feeling too watery. For my patients who complain that skim milk tastes like tinted water, I often point them toward Anchor. From a medical perspective, Anchor Trim is excellent because it is often fortified with extra calcium and protein. This is vital for the older male demographic because, as I mentioned earlier, we are fighting both high blood pressure and the risk of osteoporosis and muscle loss simultaneously. Finally, at Countdown, you will see Meadow Fresh Trim. Meadow Fresh takes a slightly different approach to their milk consistency. Their trim version is very clean and light. One thing to note for those who are also monitoring their blood sugar is the lactose content. Lactose is a natural sugar. While Meadow Fresh is high quality, I always advise my patients to check the total carbohydrates on the back. If you are a senior man with both hypertension and borderline diabetes, you want the milk with the lowest sugar to protein ratio. In the aisles of Countdown, Anchor and the Countdown house brand often lead the pack in terms of overall balance for a hypertensive diet. Moving over to New World supermarkets, we often find a different variety of products, including more boutique and specialized health brands. New World tends to cater to those looking for organic or specific digestive-friendly options. As your doctor, I want you to look beyond the standard labels here and consider how specialized milk might further assist your blood pressure management. One of the first brands you will notice is Pam's and Pam's Finest. Pam's is the value brand for New World, similar to Countdown's house brand. It is a very reliable, no-frills trim milk. However, Pam's Finest often sources from specific regions or uses higher standard processing. For a senior with high blood pressure, the Pam's Finest range sometimes offers a cleaner nutritional profile with fewer additives, which is always a plus for vascular health. A very important brand to discuss at New World is A2 Milk. You will see an A2 light or trim version. Now, why does a heart doctor care about A2 protein? Many older men develop a sensitivity to the A1 beta-casein protein found in most standard cow's milk, leading to bloating and systemic inflammation. There is an emerging body of research suggesting that systemic inflammation can contribute to arterial stiffness. If your gut is happy, your body is under less stress. If you find that regular trim milk gives you digestive discomfort, A2 Light is a premium choice that may help keep your internal inflammation levels low, which is a win for your blood pressure. Then we have the organic trim options, such as those from Anchor Organic or local boutique farms often stocked at New World. Organic milk is not just about avoiding pesticides, it is about the fatty acid profile. Even though trim milk has very little fat, The fat that remains in organic milk is typically higher in omega-3 fatty acids because the cows are predominantly grass-fed. Omega-3s are well known for their anti-inflammatory and heart-protective properties. If your budget allows, choosing an organic trim milk at New World provides that extra layer of protection for your endothelium, the inner lining of your blood vessels. Lastly, at New World, you might find milk fortified with vitamin D, such as the Anline range or specific Anchor Calcium Plus versions. Many seniors living in parts of New Zealand may not get enough sun exposure during the winter months. Vitamin D deficiency has been linked to increased renin levels, an enzyme that raises blood pressure. Choosing a trim milk that is fortified with vitamin D is a strategic move. It allows you to tackle your bone density and your blood pressure in one single glass. When you are at New World, look for those labels that mention vitamin D and extra calcium. They are often the secret weapon for a senior man's longevity. We have walked through the aisles of Countdown and New World, and we have looked at the science. Now, let us bring it all together into a clear, actionable comparison. When you are standing there in the dairy aisle, I want you to have a mental checklist. This is what I call the Dr. Carter comparison framework for hypertension. First, let us talk about the sodium to potassium ratio. This is the gold standard for blood pressure management. In a typical 250 milliliter glass of trim milk, you are looking for less than 120 milligrams of sodium and more than 400 milligrams of potassium. Anchor Trim and A2 Light frequently hit these numbers with the most precision. The reason this ratio matters is that potassium helps your body flush out the sodium that causes water retention and high blood pressure. If you find a brand where the potassium is exceptionally high, that is your winner. Second, consider the protein density. For the senior man, we want at least 8 to 10 grams of protein per serving. Most New Zealand trim milks are excellent here, but Anchor and Meadow Fresh often have a slight edge in protein concentration due to their specific ultrafiltration methods. Now, let me give you the Dr. Carter formula for how to actually consume this milk to maximize your heart health. I recommend 2 glasses of 200 to 250 milliliters per day. The timing is important. I suggest 1 glass in the morning with your breakfast. This provides a slow-release protein to keep your energy stable and start your day with a dose of potassium to counteract any salt in your morning meal. The second glass should be about an hour before bed. Why? Because the calcium and magnesium in the milk have a natural calming effect on the nervous system and the muscular walls of your arteries, which can help support a lower resting heart rate and better sleep quality. There is also a very important tip regarding temperature. I advise my senior patients not to drink milk ice cold straight from the refrigerator. For some individuals with sensitive cardiovascular systems, a sudden intake of very cold liquid can cause a minor temporary spike in blood pressure due to the cold shock response. Instead, let the glass sit on the counter for 5 to 10 minutes or warm it slightly to room temperature. This is much gentler on your internal system. To summarize the choice, if you are on a budget, go to Countdown and get their house brand trim. If you have digestive issues or bloating, go to New World and pick up A2 Light. If you want the absolute best nutritional profile with the most research behind it, Anchor Trim is your go-to at either store. And if you are focused on long-term vascular protection and don't mind the extra cost, the organic trim options at New World are a fantastic investment in your health. As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to remind you of something very important. As much as I believe in the power of the right trim milk, it is not a magic bullet. You cannot outdrink a poor lifestyle. To truly manage your hypertension as a senior man in New Zealand, the milk must be part of a larger strategy. Think about your salt intake beyond the dairy. New Zealanders often consume a lot of hidden salt in breads, processed meats, and even some cereals. Always check the labels at Countdown and New World for those items as well. Aim for the Heart Foundation tick whenever you see it. Additionally, take advantage of the beautiful New Zealand environment. Whether you are in Auckland, Wellington, or Christchurch, We have world-class parks and walking tracks. 30 minutes of brisk walking, combined with the potassium and calcium from your trim milk, creates a powerful synergistic effect that keeps your arteries flexible. I also encourage you to make use of the local pharmacies. Most Unichem or Life Pharmacy locations across the country offer free or low-cost blood pressure checks. Do not just wait for your annual doctor's visit. Be proactive. Track your numbers and see how they improve after you switch from full cream milk to a high-quality trim version. I want to thank you for spending this time with me today. My mission is to ensure that every man in his golden years has the tools to live with strength and vitality. Choosing the right milk is a small step, but as we know in medicine, small habits lead to big outcomes. Before you go, I have a question for you. Which supermarket do you prefer for your weekly shop, Countdown or New World? And have you noticed a difference in how you feel after switching to trim milk? Please leave a comment below. I read as many as I can, and I will try to answer your specific questions. If you found this information helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I will be releasing more content specifically designed for the health needs of men in New Zealand, including deep dives into heart-healthy grains and the best protein sources available in our local markets. This is Dr. Daniel Carter. Take care of your heart, stay active, and I will see you in the next video. Wishing you all the very best of health. Goodbye for now.